Why the fuck would somebody do that?
I don't know.
Hey, in this day and age,
real.
why not?
Yeah.
It's real. It's terrifying.
I'm gonna find it now.
Oh, no.
Find
I
it.
don't want to look.
I don't want to see that. I don't know what kind of show you think this is, young lady.
Hey, I listen to you guys pretty regularly. I'm not the only one making sexual jokes.
No,
okay?
That's true. That's
okay?
true.
Yeah.
Fair. I just don't show a lot of penis to other people on the show, and
No
neither do
penis
these
jokes.
guys. I don't.
What about? Oh wait, no.
Mitch?
Sorry.
That's all fair. Has nothing to do with the show.
You
Moving
know,
on.
every time we do the 10 seconds for Harambe, it's really dicks out for Harambe for 10 seconds.
Mother love.
That's how we do it. That's right. Good journey, Harambe.
Be in peace.
No, that was a great pick right there too, because a lot of people aren't exposed to that kind of animation. It's not about the fun parts of animation. You know, it's more real. You know, that's why I've always liked Japanimation and any of that old animation like that, because it really does.
Manga?
Yeah.
What is the correct term? Is it
Manga?
manga or manga? Because
Manga.
I've been corrected both ways in stores where I'm looking at books.
It's GIF all over again.
It's manga.
Okay. I think
Let's not talk about that either.
I will say that,
I'm just gonna shut up.
as an animator or just an artist, like Studio Ghibli, they weren't using computers.
No.
Right.
No,
Like they
man.
were hand doing that shit like a flip book.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Anime
because it's so
started-
beautiful.
In the 40s, in the 30s, I think they were doing
Probably
anime.
30s.
Yeah.
That makes more
At
sense.
the same time, like Disney was starting their stuff, so they had been doing that kind of animation forever.
Well, and that's why
Yeah.
Well, that's why.
Forever.
Hey,
Well, that's
Brock,
why,
you know.
especially in the 80s, 90s, that's why a lot of stuff got shipped off to Asia. Korea was like the chop shop of all of that. Like, if you wanted it for cheap, you sent it to Korea. For real. That was the deal. That's why you saw like all those episodes like with G.I. Joe and all those where you're like, oh, that art's the same as this art.
Huh. They fought Serpentor here last time.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not speaking specifically of that show, but that was a big deal. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Number 3?
Number 3.
My number 3 is 28 Days Later, Rules Be Damned.
That was going to be one.
That was the first running zombies.
Yeah, well, no, and I
it
like that
wasn't
they're not
zombies.
zombies. It's a virus. It's
Yes.
a rage virus.
Yes.
And people just get wiped out. Now, this is across the whole British Isle. It's a Danny Boyle movie. How can you go wrong?
Yep.
And this is the first place I really ever saw Cillian Murphy.
Yep.
And he's, of course, played the Scarecrow in the Batman trilogy with Christian Bale.
He's big friends with Home Dude.
With Home Dude.
Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. That's why he's
like,
in everything that
Home
Nolan
Dude,
does.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really like this movie, and this to me was like the beginning of Walking Dead before there was a beginning of The Walking Dead.
This was the
He was in a
resurgence.
hospital.
Yes.
He had been in a coma or whatever for 28 days past what everything else had happened. So it's almost like the same beginning. It's like Kirkman's like, that's a really good beginning. It inspires me to do my own.
Well,
Just like that.
I shall do
But he's
it.
going to be a sheriff.
Yeah, correct. What Kirkman did different was he showed what got him into the hospital.
No, I agree.
And,
I agree.
And with Cillian Murphy, I mean, it's such like a, I don't know. It's so grounded in reality too.
It is.
Because at the very end of it, when the zombies have basically like started to wither away and they can't really attack anything,
Yes.
it's fucking crazy. Because that's gonna happen in a zombie
Well,
movie.
especially because, again, they're not zombies. They're
Correct.
living people with this rage virus. So eventually they don't eat. They don't drink water. Their body starts to deteriorate. So they are like a zombie,
Yes.
but they expire.
Yeah, they're gonna
There
use
is
all
no
that energy.
supernatural.
Fire.
Yeah.
They're
There's a
spooky
use-by
wookies
date.
coming.
But
And
it's
a
so
sell-by date.
it was such a big, didn't it come out in 2001?
2002.
Okay, because it was such a resurgence into the zombie genre that it greenlit Resident Evil,
Right.
because of that movie, and it brought new life into the whole genre, which again had ended with like Day of the Dead and a couple of the Felucci movies in the 80s.
Which started reaching into comedy.
Was
as
it right
well.
around here where we
jumped.
got the reboot or the remake of
No, Night of the Living Dead was 90.
no, not that one.
Oh, 2004.
2000. So right around there. Yeah.
Yeah, really close to
Yeah,
it.
we were
Yeah.
getting that movie as well.
Yeah.
With Ving Rhames and whatnot.
Yes, 2004 was Dawn of the Dead remake.
Also the first time that I ever heard Richard Cheese.
Richard Cheese.
That's
Yeah,
a funny
the singer.
name. Dick Cheese.
Oh yes,
The one that when he does
right now?
the sickness.
He goes
I
down
get
with the sickness.
The sickness.
He does Down with the Sickness, but it's more like a lounge act.
Oh, jazz. I've heard that.
Yeah.
That's Dick Cheese.
Yeah, Richard Cheese.
I'm not gonna be able to.
And the String Cheese Quartet. So. And they are fucking. He is amazing, dude. I recommend if you've not listened, get on Spotify, do something, listen to that because Do the Rage Against the Machine is fucking amazing.
Be
yeah.
awesome.
Anyway, so that's a digression, but yeah, 28 Days Later, good movie.
28 Days Later really did have a great premise behind it.
And I like the fact, and I think that's why I like it. I don't have any other zombie movies on here because I think this, to me, is more realistic, and therefore, I don't know. I just buy into it more. Like most zombie stuff, I'm up to a certain point, and then I'm like, okay, now you're fucking dumb.
Yeah.
You're just dumb.
Yeah.
You know?
Gotten to a point. It was so scary, that one scene where they're going through the tunnel, you know, and they have to change the fucking tire like a goddamn NASCAR team.
Absolutely.
You're like, oh, it's all whimsical and great. And it's like, we got to hurry.
Yeah.
Shit. I've always enjoyed that. And 28 Weeks Later was actually really good too.
Yeah, I didn't.
That was a Jeremy Renner vehicle.
Yes.
Did you see the new one coming out 28 Centuries Later?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
It's still like everybody's
We gotta
carrying
wait a while
on, but
for
it's
it.
like,
It's
I
great.
feel like there should be a middle movie.
yeah.
Like 28 years later or something. That
hasn't been made?
Centuries. No.
Well, you know, they could very well do that, and because the point of view camera shots in that made it so fucking hectic and scary. The first time he gets in contact with the one priest, he's like, "Hey, Fada," and he like basically like and starts jerking and shit. The way that they did that, somebody told them how to act, which was really cool. In the Romero zombie movies, it was like, hey, do a zombie, because if he would show them how to do it, they'd all do what he did.
Right.
So
And
he
wanted it to
basically
be different.
Correct.
Yeah.
Everybody had to come up with their own interpretation. But this one with the rage virus and even the way they ended was fucking crazy. It was a pretty good movie. So I'm sorry
So
I
that
made
was-
you take it off your list.
Yeah. So I put that as my number 3. Yeah.
I will say, people who can do those like creepy movements like that gets me every time.
Yes.
I think
They do
some
that
of that's in the
It.
photo edit or in the film.
Oh,
editing
yeah.
When he's
as
coming
well.
out of the fridge.
Yeah.
Can't fucking do it. Nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
I'm an adult, and that scares the shit out of me still.
That's the stuff that I like, watching shit like that that'll make you feel uneasy.
Yeah, of course. That's
Queasy,
the
you
idea.
know?
That to me is the idea of a horror movie.
Yes, that's what you should be getting.
You're not
It's not a
going-
jump scare.
Yeah, you're not going to see Poltergeist the
It
remake.
like makes your
Fuck
back
off.
tingle. Like you can just feel
yeah,
it.
when you're anticipating seeing something so freaky, but like in these Blumhouse movies, it's all jump scares.
Yeah.
and fucking,
Well, I mean,
somebody under the sheets.
watch our archives on our top 5 movies of something, where I said From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
I got experienced into that with like a blind eye to anything that it was vampiric, and then all of a sudden it just turns like that, and I was like, "What the fuck?" You know, it's just a huge shock.
It gets you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. Yeah,
That's a
it
what
was
the
fun.
fuck moment right there.
It was. It was
one of
truly.
the best what the fuck moments ever.
I was just taken off guard. I totally thought this movie was going down a different beaten path, and then bam, her mouth just opens, and you're like, "Oh, oh my god!" I peed a little.
yeah.
It was crazy. But yeah. Anywho,
After
we
that
digress.
dance.
That's it. That's number 3. 28 Days Later.
So my number 3 is The Matrix.
That's fair.
I know.
I know Brock wants this to be higher. Brock wants this to be higher on the list.
You know, that's
As
actually
much
my
as he
number
loves
one.
Neo. Hashtag Brock loves Neo.
But think about it though. It is truly post-apocalyptic.
Yeah,
because-
100% it is.
Yeah, it's just like
just
this
doesn't
virtual
seem
reality
like
realm, right?
Right.
So I don't know what more to say about it besides the fact that everybody knows the Matrix, everybody loves the Matrix. It's
Except, Brock loves it more than anybody else.
oh my god,
Well, they're
Brock's
filming
the
part
biggest
4
fan.
right now.
This is the biggest
Yeah.
fangirl.
I can't
Truth.
wait to see it. Yes.
You know, the ending is probably his favorite part.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the most well
I think
done
we beat the
component.
dead horse.
Just
This dead
best.
horse too much.
Okay, so moving on.
Is there
But
anything
no,
else you want to...
absolutely. So when they go into what is now the regular world,
Yes,
not inside the Matrix,
that's very post.
you can very much tell that like things have happened, right?
Yes.
I mean, obvious, super obvious. So I would totally make this a post. You know, this is totally a post-apocalyptic.
and I mean,
movie.
spoilers: the machines won.
Yeah.
At the beginning of this.
So it could almost just be the end of Terminator.
Yeah, pretty
oh my
much.
God, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
I've never thought about that, but somebody should like tie those two together and say
You don't even have to do
Terminator.
anything. You just have like a movie where they reference like these computers making the Matrix, and then that's it. Done.
Damn. Neo. Morpheus. Back at it.
Linda Hamilton.
Yes.
The T-17,395s. They're coming for us.
They're coming for us.
That's actually, that's the T-7332.
How did you tell?
You can tell by the nick on the back of the heel
Cyberdyne
on the
Systems
left-hand
Model 101.
side.
I thought you could tell because of the way it is.
Well, that'd be pretty neat.
You can always tell a different Terminator from one from the other by their plugins in the back.
The ones that have a micro USB are better than the ones that are worse than the ones that have the USB-C.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, the T100s didn't have but like 2 gigs of memory. The T1000 had like 20 terabytes worth of, and then the T1 million, the one that I fought at Universal Studios when I went,
Has 20,000 petabytes?
yes,
I assume that their islands beginning with like 2 megs.
yeah,
2 megapixels,
Yeah.
and now they're like 40.
because it was an Apple computer system in the Terminator. That was the interface, was the Apple computer UI.
Nice.
It was weird.
Craziest thing is calculators nowadays have more computing power than like NASA's first shuttle or something like that.
Yeah.
And the T100.
Basically,
100.
if you think about it, really, a phone from about 7-8 years ago could have ran our entire defense system in 1975.
Like, yes, I'm the astronaut. Like I'll fly to the moon based off this minimal technology. It's cool.
Dude,
Yeah, I'll totally go.
It's a Game Boy.
we won.
Yes, Tetris.
Dude, I love to. Either way, we're going to digress.
Digress. Okay, you want me to?
Brought to you from Russia.
I mean, The Matrix, everybody knows it so well. It doesn't really need a lot of digression into it.
But it's a good addition to the list, even though I hate it. I could see where
What,
people
Brock?
like it. Yeah,
We
I can see
thought
where people like
we
it.
had it all wrong.
No,
I'm so
we
sorry.
didn't. It's my number one, though.
Oh, I knew
So,
it.
spoiler alert.
1,000.
I'm happy to not be sharing mine with anybody. It feels pretty cool.
Yeah. So far,
Yeah.
nice.
Oh, right. Got you.
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought you meant
Pretty
The
cool.
Matrix for some reason.
Yes, that's on mine too.
no, my number 3 is The Road Warrior.
Nice.
There's apocalyptic
Yes.
all the way
Max
through.
wannabe. No, I'm just kidding.
It was Mad Max 2, released somewhere in the States as... it was some country it was released as Mad Max 2, but it's really The Road Warrior. Yeah.
Do you is this the only one in this series that you have?
Nope.
Okay, good. Then I'll shut up.
Nope.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, The Road Warrior was fucking bitching.
This is, to me, is probably the movie from that trilogy, or not.
Yeah,
quadrilogy right now.
Yeah, the
but,
original trilogy.
But this is the one that I think really set the tone for the world.
Yes.
Like it did the most. Like this is what the world's like now.
It's nothing anymore.
And then after that, it was accepted.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it was
Mad Max was more the transition period.
Yes.
Like this has happened, but we're dealing with it right now.
Well,
still.
see, that's the thing. Mad Max, and we were talking about this the other day. Mad Max takes place before the apocalypse, right? It does.
Right? Yeah, you're right.
And then they got into the petrol wars and everything like that, to where they basically then they started blowing each other up. That's what ended.
Yeah.
That's what happened in between Mad Max and Mad Max 2.
Sure.
So then you have vehicles and everything like that in the wastelands where pretty much everything else takes place. In there, I guess they're in Australia this whole time. I know they filmed it there. But,
Yeah, of course.
Bunker Hill. But I mean, his car was still there. He was still a remnant of it.
Well, they weren't getting off of Australia.
No, hell no.
In those cars.
Yeah. Yeah. Where are they going to go? Madagascar? What the fuck?
I jumped on a nice ferry and we went to the mainland.
Yes. We're all criminals here. No. I fucking love the world. I mean, it's so gritty and fucking crazy, and it seemed like all of the sporting goods stores were the only things that actually made it after the apocalypse, because everybody's got fucking catcher's fucking gloves and like fucking
Shoulder pads.
shoulder pads and fucking armor
Got
and
a hockey
bats.
mask on.
leather jackets.
Baseball bat.
Yeah.
Clubs, maybe.
Yeah. Arrows.
Hell yeah.
Arrows and gas.